A quick update for you. I've put the trim on the windows and I quite like the wood, so I quite like it that it hasn't been painted. It does feel weird to have the glass in, and this glass is so clean at the moment it looks like there's nothing there. So there's been a few times when I've gone to put my hand through it or throw some pots inside and they've bounced off. So it's a good job that it's not glass. Now this shed is 6 foot across. So I've bought a 6 foot table. So I'm hoping it will fit. It might be a snug fit, but I'm hoping it will fit. Right, need to sort out a few bits, but this table will help because then everything will start to have a place. I've got two. I've got one for outdoors and one for in. The one outside will be a sort of potting shed. Right, it's already getting full. I think I need another shed. Oh, I think it's going to be a tight squeeze if it's going to fit. The thing was, this was the only size I could get. There wasn't a smaller one. Now I could go the other way, and that is what I was hoping it would fit snugly into here. But there's a bit of wood in the way. Hold on. Are you alright there? It's getting a bit windy. You're in the window. Yes, I don't think it's not going to fit. So let us have a rethink. If I push it, the sides might fly out. Right, I'm gonna have to do it in the other direction. Right, so you need to come back over here. I brought these down because I wanted to fix some of the bolts to make them a bit stronger. Right. Okay, this is not the plan that I had, but it's a plan Stan. I'll bring you inside now once I get it up. Yep. Butterflies are flying out. I must have opened my wallet. Ooh. I don't think there'll be any space for me to sit in here once this is up. Right, how do I get out now? Boxed myself in, yeah, haven't I? Right. I have to take you home. Otherwise there's no space to fart. Right, come in and have a look. So there we go. That's the way it will have to be for the time being. The plan is for me to actually build shelves made out of wood and build a table and things. I just wanted something as a temporary measure, because again I could use this outside as a compost, not a compost, a potting bench for when it's too hot to do it inside. But for the time being, I think that works. And then I'll be able to sit in here with a nice cup of tea, watching Pen Peak in the distance there. Yes, this is only a temporary measure. The ideal plan is to build, like I had in one of my sheds back in London, is to build a bench down here and proper shelves and a place for a cooker on this other side by the window. But for the time being, it'll do. Oh, I think I need a rest now. Right, what else is there to be doing? This takes me back. When I was a kid, you always came outside if you could hear something flying over, because it was such a rarity compared to in London when something was flying over every 30 seconds. That's a helicopter, I think. Maybe it's taking the king somewhere. I'm starting to discover how much of a windy sight this is. Now, I originally wanted to put this up in this corner, but I couldn't find one big enough to fill the space. So we'll have to go on this section here. Right, let me get the... Oh. Certainly not as warm as it was. They do put a lot of plastic on things, don't they, these days? I need to get a pair of scissors that I can keep down here. Although I do have that Stanley knife, don't I? It's too late now, it's done. Now, would you paint this? I'd be inclined just to leave it like that. And you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Because I can't be bothered. So, I'll put it... if we put it like that, and shall we raise it slightly, ever so slightly, just off the ground a bit. Right, let's pop a screw in there to fix it. Now, do we go to the extent of leveling it, or do you not bother? I don't think I'll bother. It's a kitchen garden, after all. Oh, and now it doesn't fit. Ah, right. I just lift and give it a jiggle. Oh, I could do with an extra hand. Come on. There you go. Is that straight? It's not a Chelsea flower show, so it all adds to the rustic charm, doesn't it? Right, let's have a look now what we're going to plant up against it. Let me step back and see if it's straight. Beautiful. Now the rose, which is a climber, is called Peach Melba. So which one is that? That's the nostalgia. What's that? Micho. All right, so it's not those. Let's look around the front then. Melba. Is this you, Melba? Let's have a look. No, that's Burning Desire. Burning Desire. Where's Peach Melba then? Ah, what about this blue one? Do you think that could be it? What about this blue one? Do you think that's it? Peach. That doesn't look very peachy, doesn't it? That's Rhapsody Blue. Ah, what's this one with no flowers on? Peach Melba. I knew I'd find it. So that can go there. But I've just realised I haven't brought my tools down. If you're ever stuck for a flower, you have to get this. This is the Chandos Booty, and it is a booty. It smells absolutely gorgeous. Oh, there you go. I can come in out of the wind. It's going to rain in a minute. That'll be quite good for the plants. I won't have to water them tonight. Right, I haven't got any tools with me, so I'm probably going to bring them down tomorrow now, because it's coming on, the evening's coming on, and I got other things to do. I just had a nice little sleep in the shed. Now, I hadn't planned to do this today, but I just wanted to see if my spanner fitted my nuts. And it does, but it needs a bit of brute force with it. So I've just managed, because I've left the WD-40 in the house, so I need to remember to bring that down next time. I've managed to get one of these off. So I'll just take it slow, take it steady, and we see how far we go. But there's a lot of greenery behind here. So, yes. Let us see if the recent trips to the gym have been helping. They're very tight nuts. My problem is, I think the whole thing is going to move. If I just slacken them, that's going to fall. Ah, hold on. Here we go. Stand by your beds. Yes, get it out. Do you remember the Incredible Hulk? Watch me turn green. Right. Mind your backs. It's a big momentous day, the revealing of the river. I should have brought an offering to the river gods. Oh, let's have a breather. Call this entertainment. There we go. Right, let me get my Stanley knife and then we can cut it open. Hereby declare the view is partially open. May there be many years of sitting and sleeping while watching the river with a good old cup of tea. Oh, the dust on this. I now declare it open. Ta-da! Right, I'm just going to open this side for the time being. Don't want to get too excited too soon, do we? But I won't be walking down there because I don't know. I think the edge is literally 2 foot. It sort of slopes downwards. Do you know what? I need a damn good cup of tea after that. Hey! Nice looking soil here, I must say. Now, I'm going to try and put this rose in at the same level that it is in the pot. Also, got to find a good face. I think that's the best way, isn't it? And then that can climb up there. Rather than having it in that direction, although that direction could be good as well. but not this direction because it's facing the wrong way. It's good to take your time with these things. I think I'll do that direction. Oh no, I'll put it straight on. Right, get it out of the pot. There you go. No need to tease the roots. They're quite loose. There you go. Pop the foot in. Beautiful looking soil this is. What I'll do is when I get a new bag of compost, I'll just throw some down to give it a feed. And we leave a bit of a well because when it comes to water, the water will just sit in the well and slowly go down, rather than if it was on the flat, the water has a habit of going everywhere else where you don't want it to go. So that is the first rose planted. And then on the other side, I've put the clematis. The variety is Montana Rubens. So by the two of them, that should cover this fairly well. Maybe in the winter I'll put a winter jasmine in, maybe in the middle, but that's good enough for now. When my friends were here recently, we took the opportunity to bring some things down to the homestead. So I thought I'd just give you a quick update of what's happened over the past week. Now this was originally the floor of the shed, but because the shed is now standing on an old concrete base, I thought I may use these as the main path through the vegetable bed. So the notice board is down here inside the shed. I've brought all my tools, my seeds. The seeds are in this box here, and in the other box below it are some bits and bobs, such as the kettle. Now I bought this a few months ago, originally for the house, but then I found those plastic strips instead. So I thought I would bring this down to the shed and put it on the door down here. What is it, I hear you cry? Well, have a look at this. I think there is something quite beautiful and artistic about this. Some people will like it, some will hate it. But I like it, and that is all that matters. Might take a while to untangle it though. Might take quite a long while. In fact, I might put this up today, but this is how it will look. And I think that is beautiful. Now that I've seen it out, I'm thinking maybe I should take that home and bring the other one down here. But anyway, right, let's attach it Now it seems a little bit too long, but I can easily cut it. Right, this is where you need an extra pair of hands, don't you? Because it's quite heavy. Now, shall I put it on the slant like that? Because it's quite heavy. I'll tell you that for now. River sounds very full today. Right, that's one in. One more and it's done. There we go. Right, let's just straighten that one out there. Otherwise it'll only bug me. Bug me, get it? I'm here all day, folks. There we go. Come on in and have your fortune told. Well, I like that. I like that a lot. I think there's something quite beautiful about hanging chains. Right, what else? Because I can feel the rain starting. So I've managed to cut them off at the bottom. It was quite easy to do, in fact. So I've kept all the little bits because I have an idea for a feature in the garden. But first of all, right, let's get on to the next task now. Now, I've had this whiteboard since London, and I thought it was magnetic, and I was going to put the magnets on it, but I've just tested it and it's not. So I'll have to buy another one for the magnets. So I thought, what shall I do with this? If we pop it on this door here, it can then be used as a notice board where I can put my tasks for the day. You know, what needs to be sewn and stuff like that. So it's that centre. We'll try and make things look good, don't we? There are severe black clouds coming overhead. It's good when I can use things from the old allotment. It feels a bit of a connection to the old land. There we go, that'll do. The pressure, you can feel it dropping. So I'll try and get home before the storm arrives. It looks like I could be caught here for a while. That rain is throwing it down. Now I've purchased a staple gun because this is how it was attached to the chicken shed that was here before me. So we'll give it a go and we'll monitor it over the coming weeks to see whether it's working or not. I can't see any reason why it shouldn't. It worked on the chicken shed for many a year. You know, I've been on the homestead for nearly 3 hours, and it's been a thoroughly good time. I've been listening to the Victorian kitchen garden on my phone and just pottering. And I've done quite a bit today. I've put some flowers in. I've moved the bench. I'm going to put the bench where you've seen it, so I can sit and look at the garden. And I've done the roof for the shed. Not the conventional way of doing it, but it's worked for the guy that was here before me, so I'll give it a go myself. But yes, this is the longest that I've spent on the land since having it. And I think now is the point to call it quits and go home and have something to eat and have a nice cup of tea. I've been having a bit of a rethink about my plans. And I'm thinking, because this is private land, and I keep forgetting that, my shed can be a bit bigger than normal. So I think for this whole spot I might use as a greenhouse. So don't finish it up by here, which was the original plan, but actually go all the way up to the fence and incorporate that into it as well. So here we are, first crop of vegetables in the ground. These are some leek plug plants that I bought, and the variety is Neptune. I've come down to the shed on purpose on a rainy day. It's been raining all day and there's still a bit of drizzle going on, and I wanted to come down because I just wanted to check how that roof was doing. Now the stuff I've put on there seems to be a felted plastic sheeting. The previous guy left it, so I was told I could use it. So I thought I'd come down and just check on the shed to make sure that it is working, because I don't want the shed to be destroyed just for a ha'porth of rain. So I thought I'd spend some time down here, and I brought some milk, water, and I might try and fire up the kettle. Something else I've brought down is one of the gifts that you sent me at the start of the year, which are some lights, because as you can tell, it's about 10 to 8 now in the evening and it's a bit dark in here, and if you've been watching for a few years you would already know, but for the new ones, I tend to spend more time in my growing space and in my shed during the winter. So I must get this winter ready. So we'll have to do a list of things that I need. So I've got well, I'm going to set up the stove now. The stove will give off a bit of heat, and then I need to work out lights. Now I don't think I've got them. I don't think I brought them with me when I moved. But the best setup I had was a few years ago, where I had a strip light. And I also had these down lights. I had 2 of them, and you could put them all on at the same time or as an independent. And they were connected, if I remember correctly, to a leisure battery, which then had a solar panel connected to it. And I set the thing up, and I had it for about 5 or 6 years, and I never had any problem with it whatsoever. So I don't know whether the battery was still using the juice that was in there, because I never charged it up, or that the system was actually working, because back in those days I didn't have an indicator to tell me that the battery was charging. But these days I've seen Rick Van Man did it in his shed many years ago. He had a little monitor so he could see whether the battery was charging up again. So that's what I will have to look into. Again, all comes down to cost, so I might have to wait until the next payday. But yes, once we get the lights in here, then I can use it all year round. Now, you would have to be a very old viewer, possibly 10 years, to remember this. I picked this up in an auction in London, and it got shelves on, and what I was using it for then was for seeds. January, February, March, April, so on. So it will be good to get that back into service. I'm not going to paint this. I know I'm a bit obsessed with painting at the moment. I'm not going to paint that. I will leave that natural wood. But something that I will paint is this that was handed down to me the other week. So I will paint this, possibly in a green colour. Something very similar to this colour here. What I'm going to use this for, I do not know just yet. But you can never have too much storage space. Might have to put a bit of butter on that, make them shoot out a bit more. better check. I wonder if anybody's hidden any £20 notes at the back there. No. What a pity. I just took my fleece off because it's a bit hot here. And the problem I'm finding with sheds over the last few years, they're making them smaller and smaller, and I already hit my head. So unless I'm standing here, I'm hitting my head. So what I will do in time, maybe when I'm building the greenhouse, which I would like to get done by the end of September, I might raise the roof about a foot, just so I can freely walk around the room without banging my head on the ceiling. Right, cup of tea time. Come on, Nick, get a cup of tea on a go, boy. I also bought the same tea caddy that I've got in the house, and I also bought one of these tea scoops, so when I set up the loose tea I can do the same down here as I do in the house. But for the time being, I've bought some tea bags. I don't know if I brought the gas with me. Right, let's have a look. Hope this works, because I've had it for about 2 weeks and now it's too late to send back if there's a fault with it. You've got to be careful with these fires. I've seen one of these fires explode. In fact, I was interviewing somebody. Sadly, she's died now, not from the fire. Lovely woman. And while I was interviewing her, in the background, her sister was running out of her shed on the other side of the site with one of these on fire. Right, where did I put the gas? There it is. It's behind you. You're hiding it. Another thing I've found is this. Remember this? This is my sign that was sent to me by some viewers in Manchester. Rachel and family. Sadly, as you can see, it's a bit like us all now. The paint has faded. But I will still put it somewhere. In fact, what I might do is I might just keep it inside the shed, because if I've put it outside, it'll just wear. Oh, it certainly feels like the old days, isn't it? I was thinking, I wonder how much these wood burning stoves are. You know, the ones where you take them camping? There you go. Now, not the best setup because it's on a plastic box. And that's waiting for a disaster. But, next thing, I don't recall putting in a kettle. So it'll be so much nicer in a few weeks where I can just come in, pop the kettle on, have a cup of tea. No, I haven't brought the kettle. After all that build up, I haven't brought the kettle with me. I thought I had. I thought when we moved a lot of things down. No. Oh well, that's the end of that, isn't it? Big build up and then a slow finish. At least I'll have everything here for the next time I come down. But I'm not going to give up just yet. At least I can have a cup of milk. Welcome back to the homestead. As you can see, I'm in the shed and there's been a bit of a change. Following the last video, quite a few of you suggested I just move the table from one end of the shed to the other. And that's what I've done. And look at all this space I've got. Hey. Right, I have brought some milk. So I'm going to make the first cup of tea in the shed. Gave this a good clean in the house. What I should really do is get a small one, and then I won't have to boil up as much in the future. But I like a whistle, and if I'm on the other side of the homestead, at least I'll be able to hear it when this one whistles. There you go. Don't worry about ventilation, there's enough cracks in this shed. It is a weird day today. We've had rain, then it stops, and then it's drizzle, and we've got drizzle now. That was very quick. This reminds me of past winters when I was in my shed in London. I would often boil the kettle just to warm the shed up. Right, I've brought down a fresh packet so these can stay down here. There you go. What I can do is, in the meantime, I can use this, can't I? So we'll have a cup of tea there. Get a bit of water on there. Let's hope I put enough water in, because that did boil rather quickly. Yeah, there's enough water. And then I'll just pop these tea bags in this pot for the time being. Whoop. Nearly ended up with two then. So what I've done is I've put the chair down the bottom and the kettle down the furthest end, because if anything did happen to the kettle, I then have an exit to run out of. So many times I've seen people and they put these stoves like here, and I sort of think, if something happens and a flame shot across the room, you couldn't get out. Well, I need to bring a spoon down with me. I've got plenty in the house, so I'll bring one down on my next visit. For the time being, I'll just use this thing. I must say, this certainly takes me back a few years, back to when I had the rusty allotment in London. I would spend loads of time sat in the shed having cups of tea and having chats to you. Is there anybody here still from the rusty days? Because like everything else, people change, we lose contact. I don't speak to anybody now from the rusty plot. We've all moved on. And that is how it should be. Just a quick update on my lakes. They seem to be doing well. I think I'll get quite a good harvest from them during the winter. Now this bit is slightly lower than everything else. So I'm thinking whoever had this before might have done what I'm going to do, but the path is all over the place, so I need to dismantle it. So this is what I can't decide. Do I keep it as big as what was here before, so it would end here, this is the step up, and then have water butts to collect the water, or and you might be able to tell, I've realised this site is very windy and the wind comes down here, and I want to block this off because I think that'll stop the wind. It will disperse. What's the word? Disperse it and put it somewhere else rather than coming down here. So do I bring the greenhouse all the way up to this and make this one of the walls? It would be rather large, but then I could have lots of shelving and have loads of seedlings, because what I want to do is, as well, I want to grow not just seeds for my plot, but I want to grow vegetable seeds so I can donate to the veggies for Valindra, not necessarily for them to grow, but for us to sell them in the shop. So people said to me back in the spring, they went off to the gardening shows and the fetes and everything, and they said everybody was selling flowers but nobody was selling veg. So obviously I'd keep the height. I wouldn't bother to dig all this out, so there'd be two heights. One for the top part, maybe down here. I could build a sort of sink so I can have somewhere to clean the pots, and then down here could be the growing section. I want to use this as a storage, so I'll put shelves on it. Although I have thought about possibly making the entrance to the greenhouse via the shed, so there could be a door there. But I'm talking myself out of that as soon as I say it to you. So there'll be a bench down here for my seedlings, bench down here, and then more benches down the side for all the veg seeds. So I'm thinking, is there, and this is why I'm doing this video, because I know you'll be gagging to help me, is there a width, a desired width for the upright posts? So say the door is going to go here. Do you need an upright post every 4 foot? Because I'm thinking if it's every 6 foot, that's a large piece of plastic to blow in the wind slightly. But if it's, I don't know, I'm just having a guess now. If it's 4 foot, will that make the entire structure stronger? But if I go all the way up there, will that be so big for the roof that I'll have to have one of these annoying centre posts to try and keep the whole thing up? Although I could brace it like that, couldn't I? I was just about to say, or maybe I should just concentrate on this part and then build an extension later on. But that means I'd be wasting money building this wall if I was not going to use it by taking it down, because I would be using that back wall. And then down here, I want to make a compost toilet, because if I'm spending all day here, it's a lot easier to go to your own compost toilet here. So that would be outside the greenhouse. Obviously that would have to have a solid wall here, otherwise people would be able to see me, and that is not the look that I'm going for. Right, let's go and get that tea before it gets too cold. So if I spend the majority of August getting the greenhouse ready, then my thinking is then I could start using it in September, and I could start my seedlings. So I could do some onions in pots. In fact, there's a thought now. What I could do is, I've always wanted one of these. I only had one for a few months when I was on the London plot. A bed border, so a border in the greenhouse where I can plant stuff directly. because it's not going to be what they would class as a warm or a hot greenhouse. It's going to be called a cold greenhouse, which just means it will be whatever the weather outside, inside is just a tiny bit warmer, but I'm not going to be putting heat in it. Not at the moment, anyway. Let's build the thing first. I was thinking again about, you see these camping wood burning stoves? I was thinking about putting one in this shed somewhere, but I think this shed is too small. I remember somebody had one once, and I can't remember who. Somebody had one and they put it in their shed, and they said it was so hot within seconds they had to leave the door open all the time. Plans, plans, plans. Because my other thought was, rather than having a compost toilet there, find somewhere else on the land to put that. But there, do a sort of extension and put a table and base it on Dylan Thomas's writing hut. So I could have a window overlooking the water, and I could sit there, do a bit of writing, and then I could have the wood burning stove in that part, because then there'd be a lot more space. And I know some people will say, when are you going to start to grow your veg? It's like July now, so there's not a lot of stuff you can put in. There's a few things like your, what you call them, not climbing ones, the dwarf French beans. I could throw a few of them in. But I'd rather take it slow, take it steady, get all the buildings up and running, because then I'll be able to use them during the winter. Especially the greenhouse. So that's what I'm going to do, I think. I'm going to plan this out tonight on a piece of paper. But I need to find out this thing. Is there a desired width to put a post? Because I don't want to build it and one gust of wind and the whole thing just falls down. As you would have seen if you've been here for a while, when I build things I tend to over-engineer them. Like that bench that I built. There was no way. The shed could have fallen down, but the bench would have still been there. So I want to do a good job. It's when you spend a bit of money, you want to know that you're doing it correctly and that you aren't going to waste your time and, more importantly, the cash. See, the problem with this window is when I'm sat here, I can see out, but I can't see the river. The window needs to be down a bit further. I can just about see it if I put my head up. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. It was just a very quick one, just to have a think about this greenhouse. And then during the winter, we'll do the pantry. Because as somebody said, you need the greenhouse to grow the veg, to can it, and then put it into the pantry. So I will look forward to seeing what you say in the comments below about this distance. So if there's anybody that's built a greenhouse in the past, let me know. And then the polycarbonate, I'll do what Rick did, and I'll just screw that in. So I think that will be the easy bit, but that is the expensive bit, I remember him saying. And I don't want to use, before anybody suggests it, plastic sheeting. I've seen plastic sheeting. I used to live next door to a guy, and his entire greenhouse was made of plastic sheeting, and it would rip in the wind. And then when he got to an age where he couldn't do the plot, the whole thing just looked ugly and disgusting. And then you got bits of plastic flying all over the place. So I'd rather spend a bit more on this very solid polycarbonate stuff, and then I know it's like, I would love to have glass, but how much would that be? I'm not even bothering to go and have a look at that. Right, I'm just going to measure for my new homemade greenhouse and I thought you would like to tag along with me. Right. It's very windy. So that is 13 foot. There or thereabouts. So let us go from the right, let's go from here. So from here to the edge is 7 foot. But from here to the edge up here is 18 foot. So 18 foot is all the way down. Oh, the sun's coming out. First bit of sunshine we've had all day. Let me just record this as well. So coming up to there is 8 foot. Coming up to here is 10, because I'm thinking about having the door on the side, so the door will go there, or just like that. In fact, that feels a lot better, just like that. Right, there's my measurements anyway. I'm gonna have a play around now in the house. Okay, just for the fun of it, let me just measure from the shed to the part here is 6 foot 8, because there's a slope, so it gets wider down there. So that's 8 foot 6. What was that? 6 foot 8. 6 foot 8. And for the flooring inside, I think I'll just put down some breathable plastic sheeting and put some gravel stones on top. But before then, I will try and level it out as best I can, although this section will have the step up. I'm not going to dig all that out. Another thing I want to do is, when the water comes off the roof, I want to put a water butt inside the greenhouse as well, so that the water comes down and goes into the water butt inside the greenhouse, and then comes back out again and goes in the other water butts around the shed. And that is because on a really hot day, it is better to water your plants with water that is the same sort of temperature as the environment in the shed. Because if you put cold water onto a slightly warm plant, it can shock it. Right, I've got this video to look back on now and to write down. If you've got any ideas, feel free to put them in the comments below. In fact, what I'll do is I'll leave this shot on for a bit, and it might help some of the designers out there if you want to help me. I will have to bring a thermometer down, because I've just walked in here now and it is scorching. It has been a very busy day today. I've just noticed I've got two plants the same. How did that happen? Let me just check. And how is it only now that I'm noticing? Scabious butterfly blue. It's weird that I've got two of them. Right then, I'll put one in the bed here. I'll put another one in front of the shed around there. I'll also take the not the chrysanthemums, carnations, and the coreopsis. We haven't had any rain for quite a few days now, so I'm surprised to hear that the river sounds quite vicious. Right, where can these go then? Maybe one goes there. See, this is what I like to do. Pop them in, step back. Listen to the dogs barking. Put that one there, so I can see the carnations when I'm sat down. I can't believe I got two of them. Now, some people might say, are you going to weed it? No, all weeds have a place. A weed is only a plant in the wrong place, after all. And that one there. Maybe I can go in the corner. Right. Do you want to come a bit closer and see? Now, unfortunately, the milk that I left in the... Hold on, let me get my knee pad. Let me get my knee pad now. Get into that age. I know a lot of people say, why don't you have gloves on? Because I like to feel the earth between my fingers. I like to feel it in my fingers and feel it in my toes. Alright. Although a pair of gloves would be handy to get this stingy nettle out. Oh, I'm not going to get the root out, am I? Oh well. Look at the soil here. Beautiful. Reminds me of the soil I used to have in the family garden many a moon ago. Plenty of life. Now, a little trick for you. Take the plant out of the pot, and you can use the pot to see if you need to dig it a bit deeper or not. Let's just get that out. So there you go, that'll do me. Pop that in, pop a bit of soil around the edge, give it a thorough good watering, and he will be happy. Oh, it's nice to come to the land after a busy day at the computer. How can you hear an ice cream van? The ice cream van in this area is what I call a healthy ice cream van, because by the time you get to it, he's gone. There you go. That'll do me. And we'll pop the coreopsis, which is one of the very first plants that I sowed from seeds. Not this, but 40 years ago. And this is the same variety called Sunrise. Now if you pull them out and there's a lot of roots, give them a bit of a tease. Help them on their way. And then just pop it in. No need to be cute about it. Pop it in, give it a bit of water. I must say this soil is quite sandy up the top end here. There you go. Beautiful. No need to go all Kew Garden about it. I was hoping for a cup of tea down here today, but that milk that I left before has gone rancid. So I'll have to get some powdered milk like they did during the war. During the war. I was so busy talking to a friend on the phone for the last hour, I hadn't realised the sun has gone. So before I head home, let's have a look. I need to bring my secateurs down to do some deadheading. But we have a rose there. And the variety of this rose is, I'll tell you now, Nostalgia. And this one next door is called Micho. Look at that. And there's another little cluster down here as well. So some more things to get into the ground. It just never stops, does it? Certainly a heat wave. It's 8:15 and the temperature has dropped to about 29 degrees. After such a hot day, it's lovely to be here. It's nice and cool. But I've already learned from experience, the gnats will start biting from 8:30. So I'm not staying long. I just want to put my potatoes in the shed so that they're here. I think I'll probably put them just beyond the leeks. Oh, I forgot I left the window open. Close that now. I should have brought some milk down with me. I could have had at least a cup of tea down here. But anyway, put them there so that they're there for my next visit, which hopefully will be in a few days. I can already feel the gnats are starting to bite. Although I do have, where is it? And this did work the last time. A spray. Do you recognise that? It does work. Makes your skin pong a bit, but oh, my dinner is repeating. I've already got access to a strimmer. So before I do any work on that greenhouse, I will have to strim. Look how beautiful the leeks look, just by the cold frame there. And I'm using some of these corrugated iron sheets as a bit of a pathway for the time being. I would say the majority of the plants are now in the ground, grown away nicely. I've got this door here because I'm thinking of putting my own doorway in that section of the wall. That is another plan that I want to do. Plus I need to come down. Right, I'm going to try and come down tomorrow because I can already see the roses need to be dead-headed. Right, okay. That is a task for the next visit. But it's nice to just sit here and listen to the water gently going past. It's beautiful. I thought that was a gnat then, but it's it's a weed. Next time I come down, if it's not too hot, I might do a bit of weeding. I don't really believe in getting rid of all the weeds, but what I will do is I will weed around the plants that I've already put in so they don't have any competition. But going into August, won't be long now and we'll be putting in our onions ready for next year. Next year. In fact, talking about next year, I'll have to start thinking about daffodils. Where are the daffodils going to go? Because the ones I've got for the house are going to stay there. So I might get some more and just put, you know, a group of 5 and some tulips as well. So maybe when I go home, I'll have a look on the old interwebs and see what's available. Right, I'm just going to sit here now and enjoy the peace and quiet before I get bitten to death. I use some of the corrugated iron to put down where the path is going to be. So at least it will keep the weeds down. So there it would be, right in the middle.